part of the tutorial, and in the first part we created a few enemies and we placed a little player onto our room. So these are our enemy objects here, and the enemies will move freely around. If I just double click on this just to show you. So we basically created a object called enemy. We then set it to move free in 360 degrees at the speed of 3, and we told it as well when it goes outside the room, wrap around, so it'll come out of one area and go into another. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and create another object. I'm going to create another sprite, so something for our little player to collect. So essentially, if the enemy hits the player, I want it to restart the game. But what I also want to do to get the idea of scoring and collisioning, if the player hits another object, the collectible, then they get a score added. So let's see how we would do something like that. Well, let's click on the tick here and let's add in a new sprite. We're going to call this SPR collect. We're going to click on edit and we're going to click on new, double click on the image, and I'm going to zoom it in. And we're going to draw randomly, we're going to draw a nice little triangle like so. Okay, great. So I'm happy with the colours. I'm not going to change the colours for now. I'm going to click the tick here and I'm going to click the tick there, and you can notice when I click the OK button, that now is set. So let's create an object, obj collect, and we're going to set the sprite. So we've got everything ready now, set to go. We're going to add another create event in. So when I click on add event, create, we're going to then set it to move. This one is going to be the same as we did before, random. In fact, we'll put 180 here just to show you. 180. We're going to set it so that it moves quicker, 6. And we're going to click OK. And we're also going to click add event, other, and then outside of room. What happens when it's outside the room? Well, we're going to get it to wrap around in both directions, and then we're going to click OK. Okay, so once we've done that, click OK in there, and that's saved. Now we'll need to put some of these objects on our room. So I've got my triangle still set there, and I'm just going to add a few of these in randomly like so. Okay, now then, if we just play this, what you are going to notice, each time we play this and the more things we add in, probably the slower it's going to get to build, because it's thinking about more things as well. So here we go. Lovely. Now it looks really confusing now, which is great. We've got lots of different things flying around. I probably shouldn't have chosen a colour so close to my enemy square, but I know I'm after the triangle instead of the square. So this is really good. My player movement still works, which is fine. And what I'm trying to eventually try and do is chase the triangles like so. So let's have a look. Well, what we need to do is we need to basically put in a little bit of collision detection. So if I click on add event and we're going to say collision. So if I collide with the collect, this now is where the code is going to go. So if the player collides with the collection, then what we want to do is we want to add in a score. So I'm going to say a score of 10. We want it to be relative. Now what that means is if I just set it to 10, every time I hit one of these collectibles, it's just going to set my score to 10 each time. By clicking this relative, it means the score will increment. So it'll go to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, up and up and up. And if I click OK, that now is set. And what I also want to do is I want to just test that out. So if I click OK on this and then press play, so let's see if this works. So my player now, there you are, look, I just hit it, but there is a bit of an issue. You can see as I'm hitting the triangle, so if I go with this one as an example, every time I'm over the triangle, the issue is it's just adding in my points. We need the triangle to almost disappear. So if I go back to my player, now there's a few ways we can do this. This way probably isn't the most elegant, But if I go to my main, and then you can see there I've got destroy instance. Now what I don't want to do is I don't want to destroy myself, I want to destroy another object, and what I want to do is destroy the collectible object. So if I click OK now, and then click OK on that, and click the play, what you should notice now, hopefully if I've done this correctly, is it does get rid of them, but there's a bit of an issue. It gets rid of every single one of them. Well, I don't want it to get rid of every single one, I just wanted to get rid of that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this code. So if I double click on it, I'm going to remove this here and delete, and we're going to put the code behind the collectible object. So if I click on add event and then go to collision, and then if I collide with the player, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to basically give a score of 10, and then I'm going to remove self, click OK, click OK, click OK. Let's try that one. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed then, but one of my little triangles flew into me, and as you can see the score is just going up one at a time now, which is great. So that's 30, that's 4, ooh, missed 40. Okay, so you can see now what we're doing, which is great, but the issue is I've still got nothing happening now when my little square hits the player. So let's sort that out. So like before, where on my collect object I've got a collision, what we need to do under the enemy object, I'm going to click on add event, collision. So collision with my player. Now we can do a number of things with this. We can either be incredibly harsh and we could restart the game, which is fine. So if I go to my option here, look, on main 2, if I click on this button here, look, restart the game, you can see every time it collides, it'll restart the game. But what we can also do is we can end the game as well if we wanted to. Right? So let's have a look. What happens now as I've got the restart game? What does that look like? Well, again, what's going to happen is it's going to almost pause, and then it's going to reset. The player will always be started in the center of the screen with this. Okay, so watch this. Just as we go, and there we are. Look, so I've got that one. I got knew that one. 20. 30. Now let's purposely collide with one of my things. Can you just notice what happened then? Every time I'm colliding, it restarts. And because it's restarted, look, it ends my score. My score then vanishes. So by some luck now I've had 30. Bam, it goes again back to 0. So what we could do, handily built in with this, is a score counter. So if we go back to my scoreboard here, what we could say is that when we hit, put the score in here. Now I'm not going to change the show high score for now, I'm just going to put it here. But we're going to change the order of this. So what will happen is, when my player hits the enemy, it's going to show the high score, it'll allow me to enter it, and then I'm going to restart the game. So as this plays now, we should hopefully, if one of the triangles hits me, hopefully we should have, there we are, so my score is 20, so if I just crash into this here, bam, and it allows you to put your name there, Dave as an example. Lovely, great, press escape to close, and then it restarts. Okay, so that is how you would build some form of enemy colliding. And we've looked at score system. We've obviously looked then at how to end the game with a collision. We've also looked at putting a high score in as well. In the next video, we're going to look at how to end the game if we collect all of the collectibles, and potentially then look at having another level as well. Okay.